Welcome to EnduringTechnologyPress.com. I'm Eric, and with fall comes a lot of hearty meals. You've got those hearty soups, stews, all those awesome spicy Asian dishes, butter chicken, the Thai curries, all those things. They make for great meals. They also make for great lunches the next day. For adults, this usually isn't a problem if you've got a fixed work environment, right? You've got a microwave to heat things up in. For kids, it's a little bit of a different story. They don't have that capacity usually in the classroom. You need to rely on a thermos bottle or a vacuum bottle. Last year I got a couple cheap ones, and frankly they disappointed. In the 6 hours between packaging at 6 a.m. and opening it up at noon, it had cooled so much that it really just didn't have a whole lot of allure. So this year I decided to get a couple of different competing brands and sizes and see how they measure up. Now, these all came with competing offers of how long and promises of how long they keep things hot, but nothing substantive that I could find. We've got here the Thermos bottle, a 16 ounce, Thermos brand 24 ounce, and a Stanley that's 17 ounces. Now you'll notice that these are just an ounce different in capacity, but in size there's quite a difference here. Now these also came with some competing claims, as I said. This one promised 6 hours of staying hot, this one 9, and the Stanley 12 hours. Now, originally when I went in, I thought that this was a reasonable claim. I mean, it's significantly larger, should have a lot more insulation compared to this one that holds about the same capacity but is only 2/3 the size, right? Well, when I ran the trial, I found out that that wasn't the case. What I did was open them up, pour in boiling water, seal them up, and every hour to 2 hours, cracked them open, took a reading with a digital thermometer, and charted it out. And what did I find? I found that they lost heat at about the same rate. The biggest variable was, in fact, the amount of fluid in them. So 6 hours out, which is sort of my benchmark for assessing the feasibility of having a nice warm lunch, this one was 66.5 Celsius, this one 68.5 Celsius, and remember, there's 1 ounce of volumetric difference, and I didn't standardize for this. And this one, that's nearly double the capacity, well, not quite, but significantly more capacity, 74.4 Celsius. Even 13 hours out, they were still nice and warm, right? And remember, this is the 12-hour claim. These others had much more reasonable claims. This one, 49 degrees Celsius. This one, 51.3. And this one, 58.3. So, overall, pretty comparable rates of heat loss, and definitely much better than those cheap ones that I purchased. And these all ran in the $25 range. Now, in terms of overall utility, how do I like them? Well, there's a few pros and cons. This one definitely wins on size factor, and I think it's been designed for kids, or at least taking it for lunches, right? You've got this cute little spoon that goes in there. Now, for adults, that might not get lost very easily. For kids, we've been using this for a month. I'm frankly surprised that I still have these spoons. But they're still there, and they are handy if slightly gimmicky. You can tell that this larger one maybe is more adult-oriented, or for larger things they expect you to take 2 spoons or something like that. It doesn't have that in there. Not a big deal either way. It's going to get lost at some point. In terms of the lid, though, this is where the Stanley comes in. It has a really nice, aggressive grip on the lid. It is really easy to open up. And once the liquid in here starts to cool, you start to draw a vacuum. So having a nice, easy to open lid is important. The Thermos, by comparison, has these stupid little menial ridges that are raised up. They're really not all that great. I'd really rather see much more aggressive ones like the Stanley has. Now, in terms of overall size, this again is the winner, especially if you're sending kids to school. More or less the same capacity, but 2/3 the size? Why is Stanley so much bigger when it doesn't really offer that much more thermal efficiency? Shrink it down, keep this awesome top, and you have a perfect winner. If it's the cup that they're keeping it large for, you know, it's double the size of the little thermos ones. It's not that much of a gain. I don't think either the kids or I have used these cups. We're just eating right out of the vacuum bottle itself. So really not a big game changer there either. Overall, definitely opt for the Thermos brand, either for the small one, or if you want a really hearty meal and carry a lot as an adult, for their larger one. You know, the Stanley, I love it. I'm not going to return it, especially after I've used it. I like it, but really no compelling issue why I buy it unless you've got wrist problems. If you've got wrist problems, then definitely this lid is by far the better lid of these two brands. So take those into consideration. If you go into the show notes below, you can see the link to the Enduring Technology Press website and the post on these, which will have the chart on the rated heat loss for these thermoses. So for more on this and other things to empower your independence, go to enduringtechnologypress.com. Thanks.